So I'm sitting here having a cigarette, about to go to bed. Decided to check the YouTube studio, see what's going on for views and likes, etc. I hadn't checked that for a couple weeks. And I'm scrolling through old videos. I decided to do a search with my channel name and one of my cats, and I look it up and I find a bunch of videos. I'm like, oh, there's a couple I hadn't clicked a like on, so I click a like on them. I'm like, oh yeah, so I'm watching them. And this is the weird thing. This is not an emotion I expected to experience this morning. It is, by the way, 2:53 a.m., Friday, December 10th, 2021. It's not a burning emotion. It's not anything explosive whatsoever, but I looked back at these videos. Now, it's one thing for me to be like, wow, I can look back to videos on my channel from about 3 years ago and be like, wow, I was much more of a chipper individual at the time. And if you've been following my channel, you're aware of the things I've been through. And I'll be honest, even 3 years ago, my chipper was wearing down pretty significantly from concerns about employment, from, going on at that point a couple, 2.5 years, coping with the near simultaneous loss of my parents within a year of each other before I turned 40. And so it's not surprising that I would be quieter, a little more withdrawn, less jovial for the most part. I have my moments, but there's also many dark times. But the thing that got me was seeing how chipper my cats were 3 years ago. And I recognized that things are a little subdued since the passing of the boy cat. I can't even say his name because they will get sad. They remember his name. But the thing is, there are 4 other names that I dare not say in this house because they'll probably get sad too. And so what I felt this morning for the first time in years now was legit anger. Not anything to act on, not anything, super. It was more the seething, that after the fact slow burn kind of thing. But I just got to thinking about it, and I was like, I've done everything I can to try and take care of them emotionally through this time. Everything happening up to the present. I do what I can. It's hard to keep the place clean enough. Cats' emotions have issues with messy places. And I try and keep it somewhat clean and organized to the best of my ability, something that they obviously will tear things down and do stuff too, so that's accounted for. Do the best I can to provide them with a positive environment, but there are some things that kind of treatment just doesn't fix. And so, yeah, it was a stark comparison of how talkative, how wanting to stand on my shoulders, how wanting to hunt all over the place my tuxedo cat was. And yeah, she's really, really down after the loss here recently, and I'm paying daily attention to her and making sure that everything's good. But I gotta say, after the first probably 3 or 4 weeks of everyone else being gone, my little babies here started to realize something was up. And I had to watch that. I had to do everything I could to be there for them, as they were trying to be there for me. This led to 2 winters in a row of sleeping on the couch so that everybody would just come pile on. I would have a couch full of cats sleeping right on me. and especially since that point where everybody left. And previously, you could, you might see a cat or two wandering around. You catch one laying up somewhere. A couple of them might find a hide or a hole to lay in for a minute, and then they come out. And there's all kinds of whatever, and just anywhere around the house. And now there are two places that you find these cats. You find them within 10 feet of me, or you find them in a back bedroom sleeping. They either sleep on my bed or in the blue bedroom. And when I get into my bed, at least 2 or 3 of them come to my bed. And they lay with me whenever I'm in bed. While it's very touching, while it's very sweet, I recognize that my little furry baby girls here are also traumatized. And like I said, it kind of blew my mind seeing that older video. And when it sets in how much of a change has occurred. And, they grow over life, and, all creatures, adapt to their life circumstances or whatever. But the fact is that any animal with any kind of emotional sophistication whatsoever that endures any kind of trauma is going to have after effects. So, they love to jump on my lap. They love to be right up in my zone of attention at pretty much any given time. And honestly, they lay around a lot now. It would be great if I could afford like that One Fast Cat exercise wheel that I've been trying to save up for 2 years now. It would be nice if I had any means to provide them with a more conducive environment. Of course, at the same time, everybody's getting older. I got to be careful that, I don't have things that people can fall off of, as it were. But, I don't know. It was that old simmering resentment from last winter. And I guess the winter before that and the winter before that. I'm not trying to complain here. I just, like I said, I had this emotion. I felt the need to document it. But yeah, the resentment is still there. It is there not for me having been left. It's for me having been foisted into a situation that I effectively cannot crawl out of, that I effectively cannot gain any headway in, which as a consequence affects my cat babies, because while I'm able to keep them fed, I'm able to scrounge up and get litter. As far as any further progress, home environment, exercise for the cats, keep them healthy, I just can't afford it. Somebody else's fuckery put me in a position to fail. Much the same as somebody else's fuckery traumatized these cats. And then, of course, it's not just the family picking up and leaving thing, but the absolute impossibility of finding work that I experienced for the last 2 years as well. I don't want to reopen it. I don't want to get back into it, but, the people who I thought were my friends who lied to me are still around. I actually demanded seppuku of them, and I still stand by that. There are a lot of people, as this world continues to get worse, as all of the things that I've continued to point out are bullshit have continued to be proven to be the case. When I say something's happening, it tends to be what's happening. When I say that's wrong, it tends to be wrong. I'm pretty good about doing my research. But the numbskulls, the people who tried to gaslight me, the brainwashed nincompoops that I used to call friends, have suffered no repercussions whatsoever as of this recording. it's one of those things where you can sit and wait on karma forever, I guess. But it would be nice to know that the people who have wronged me got something in return in a timely fashion. But anyways, I'm about to go to bed. I am now about to go to bed, slightly perturbed, more than irritated, at the realization of how traumatized my cat babies are, and how there is not a goddamn thing I can do about it. So anyways, I know this is a little outside the norm of what I've been trying to do. This is more leaning toward what I tried to get away from a year ago, and I'm really hoping, genuinely, that I don't find myself in a position to have the same kind of thoughts as I had last year, or to have to deal with the same kind of idiotic nonsense as I did last year. But yeah, if there is holiness in this world, if there is justice in this world, if there is a God in heaven, those who have wronged me will have it catch up to them sooner than later. Not just for me, barely for me at all. I've dealt with it. I'll get by. But for the others that depend on me, regardless of my situation, for their sake. And then the final unfortunate part of it was me with my difficulties at getting ahead, prime example, almost to the dollar amount, what I spent on vet bills, including cremation, totaled, like I said, almost to the same dollar amount what my property tax is. And anytime I try and get saved up toward that, something else comes up. Something else happens every time. Get one thing fixed, something else breaks. Sometimes I can hold off on fixing something and nothing will break for an extended period of time, but eventually something else will break. And that becomes my cue to take care of the previous thing that broke. Now, if I was able to just come up with, adequate funds to take care of all the things that I've been trying to get taken care of for, years now, I'd have a truck that runs perfect. I'd have a house that has no issues whatsoever. I'd have happy, healthy, well-exercised cats. All those things I could have. It's not a matter of how hard I try. It's not a matter of putting my best foot forward. I've done all those things. It's a matter of I cannot force other people to do the right thing. Don't know if you noticed or not. It's kind of the motif in the world here, is that there are all kinds of people that get motivated to do the wrong thing, and very, very few people who get motivated to do the right thing. And maybe I'm biased to say this of myself, but when it comes to me, they especially seem to avoid doing the right thing when it comes to me. There are people that have no clue. Sometimes they do all right by me. But people that know me, ought to know better, they don't. So, I'm going to leave it at there. It's not a pity fest. I am legit angry at the fact that my little fur babies are traumatized. I did not realize the full extent to which they had become subdued and withdrawn. And I'm not saying that they all just stay away from each other and anything else. They do get together and play around. But the night and day difference between how they acted almost 3 years ago and how they act now, just, there is no excuse for it. There is no excuse whatsoever for the decisions and actions, the people that put me in this situation. Am I talking about myself? A little bit. A little bit. I fought to get this house and I refused to let it go. And at the first sign of serious trouble, everybody else just picked up and left. As I had basically got the initial problem fixed. Just no real thought as to how I would deal with it. No thought whatsoever as to how the cat babies would deal with it. Sophisticated, emotional creatures, social creatures, who had lived with our entire family unit from birth. And then just one day, everybody else is gone. Zero thought was put into the consequences or repercussions of that.